This is part 2 of Does Western Civilization Need Saving? And yes, I'm going to occasionally look away from the camera and onto the screen, and I need to try to keep it up there so you're not getting a picture of just my nostrils, which means it's going to occasionally shake because I've got a lot of shoulder damage from football and heavy lifting, powerlifting, and other things. Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and just look at the screen. I'm going to diverge here and just kind of begin a rant, or a rambling rant. A large majority of the people who now the whites are picking up on, a large majority of the people that are claiming to be my people, which only a few of them are, only a few of them carry the co-innate mutation on the Y chromosome. We've been able to trace them all the way to South Africa, but there's probably 500 million of these rabid, what they call themselves the Black Hebrew Israelite Christian Muslims. They're the most inferior people on this planet, which has been proven over again. And that's where I'm going to start off this rant, is that I'm going to start talking about the fact that I am in every way superior to almost every person on this planet. I've always ranked in the top 1 percentile or the top fraction of 1 percentile in everything that I have ever done. And let me remind you one more time, this is the smart Jew that figured out that cannabis will cure cancer by replacing arachidonyl ethanolamide. That's my original work, and that's irrefutable. I still have my 3/4 inch VHS broadcast masters from Austin Access. I've done so much, and it's accepted now. It's a fact, and there's still morons out there, just incredibly stupid people who are absolutely incompetent to analyze medical literature and don't know that this is what I'm saying is true. But the point I want to make is that from the very moment of my birth, my mom knew that I had gotten both the full double barrel shotgun blast of what both my mother and father had, which is the oldest genetics on this planet. I'm going to be talking a lot in the near future about the into Africa theory, which proves that actually blacks devolved from whites, the small-brained whites that ventured into Africa carrying my O negative blood, and it promptly, and they somehow picked up that from whatever hominids they were having sex with, they picked up that rhesus positive genetics with all that nasty toxic blood that they have. That I have the universal blood. Now just think about it. All of you can use my blood, but I can't use yours. Your blood might kill me. But my mother told me the story of my birth. I did have pictures until my house was arsoned, my lunatic. And I know Bobby Smith still got those pictures that were taken hours after I was born. Unlike my 7 siblings, I wasn't born pink. I was born dark, which actually, the 2 places that you have several places you have that pigment, or various pigments, melanin. There's also these eumelanins or whatever, and then also in the brain, and so on. But I was born very dark and covered with this kind of fine black hair. My hair was black. It all promptly fell off in about 3 weeks, turned lighter skin, and went blonde. Actually, I was a blonde kid. Most of you people don't understand hair classifications. What you call brown hair is actually technically dark blonde. It's either blonde, brunette, or redhead. And in my beard, you can see that I have all the colors of all of my ancestors. And before I continue on with it, and I was also about as smooth. I was a long, lean baby with a big head, and perfectly formed, slender, and really, I think it was 29 inches, 9 pounds, 6 ounces. I had an automatic advantage over everybody. And by the way, before I go on to that, is that this beard, which is really slow growing, this is only in its like 13th month, but I should mention right now that I got indicted by a lesbian here recently something I don't even know what the charge is. The original charge was arson, but there was no arson. There's no evidence of arson, and there was clearly no intent. They dropped the charges, but here now, 3 years later, just before she was forced out of office, she backed up this little tiny blonde-haired lesbian who really couldn't handle a Jew with a big beard coming buck naked to his front door, because I could see them through my storm door. And I knew if I put on any clothes or anything, I might get my ass shot. And she was just so bizarre. I'll handle that in some other time, because I'm already 5 minutes and 32 seconds into this. So from the time of my birth, my mother knew that I was unique. I was quite special. And that's eventually why she chose me to become the keeper of the oral tradition of my family, which genealogists have proven that we are indeed Jewish, and so on. But I began walking and talking at 6 months of age. Do you know how often that occurs? That's like, what, 1 out of 100 million births on this planet? 1 out of 100 million. My visual memory actually starts at a little less than 6 months of age, and December of 1954. And by the time I was 5 years old, actually, I taught myself I had arithmetic down by the time I was 3 years old, self-taught, just by watching. And I taught myself to read, write, and do arithmetic by age 4. And even before I started and finished first grade with straight A's, then when I age 5. And there came times when I'd ask my mom, I said, why do these kids act like this, Mom? And she would just go, oh, they're jealous of you. I say, jealous? Why are they jealous? I mean, it's not like we're rich or something. Well, we were already we were already famous. Thanks to my asshole brother Charlie and stuff. So they were already showing some jealousy, but they also knew that I was the strongest, fastest kid or whatever. And it was jealousy. I was the kid that could remember, had a verbatim recollection. And the last time that I was tested in memory, I tested 30-30, perfect, total recall, eidetic memory, and so on. Without really even trying, I was an outstanding student. I graduated near my head of my class and stuff like that without, despite all the injuries and time in the hospital and lengthy stays and stuff like that, getting things repaired, reconstructed. But at a very early age, especially, I went out to California and went to a community that had a small but significant Jewish community there. But it was mostly a bunch of pasty ass, pasty white. They were actually the Jewish and Scottish, the grandchildren of the bookkeepers of John Ralston, the guy who actually founded the Bank of America. It wasn't the Gianninis. I know history better than most of you. Most of you people didn't experience history. I'm 64 years old now. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? So, early on in life, I proved that I was more intelligent, had a sharper wit, was actually better behaved, had more impulse control than any of my siblings. Impulse control is genetic, by the way. A lot of a person's character is purely genetic. But before age 19, I had proved that I was one of the strongest. Actually, as far as powerlifting, I could have broken Paul Anderson's record early in life. I could have broken his record by the time I was 18 years old. Chose not to go down that path because why? And it really wasn't true deadlift because he had stuff on the table. He had all that steel welded to a table. That's not a true deadlift because it's supposed to be done with your arms, your hands. But proved that I was faster. I got, had a ton of, by the time I was 13, I was already appearing in worldwide publications and was just always outstanding and stuff, especially in writing. But I've done so many things in life that a lot of people think that I'm some sort of liar or whatever. When I have the pictures to prove it, there's a press out there and stuff there to prove it. But I proved that for especially a man my size, I was one of the fastest people and one of the strongest people to ever live. And there's not, when you take IQ tests and stuff like that, they only measure a couple of things, but those two things are very important. It's math and reading comprehension. It's strictly a kind of a two-dimensional test when there are actually 8 different types of geniuses, of which I have proven to have at least 6 of them, many of which can only be measured by your actual performance. And I've already proven by my performance. I've done some of the most incredible movements. My kinetic genius is really rare. There's only a few like me on this planet. And while I'm speaking about the few that are like me, I want to remind you something I may have mentioned before, is that I carry the oldest genetics on this planet. Humans are devolving. I keep running into these idiots on YouTube that thinks that humans are still evolving. Well, they are evolving in a sense of the word, but technically they are devolving. We've had the fossil records and the proof, and that's actually the official, anthropological stance, is that humans are devolving. I'm proof of that. These cameras tend to make my head look like I'm a pinhead. No, that used to be a size 8.5 head. Still, a size 8 hat is tight. And no, I don't have my kippa on at the moment and stuff. I was actually about to reach to get it there, and I think I let it slide. But the experiences of my life has just taught me that I am, superior to really almost everybody I've ever run into, both in intellect and 6 different types of genius. I'm going to start getting into I'm really tired of the whole, not the entire, sorry, I should correct myself there. And by the way, I'm well aware because I just reviewed the last video. Yeah, I said ethnic when I said ethics. I should have said ethics, and there was another word I blew and stuff. But as being the man who discovered the only correct cure for cancer, and if you want to go ahead and take me to court, I can prove I did that. You want to sue me? Any of you want to sue me? I can prove that. You go right ahead and blow your money away, because I've still got my broadcast masters and stuff like that. Not all of my papers are in my possession. They're in the possession of thousands or tens of thousands of people all around this planet, and so on. Like I said before, I'll never get my Nobel Prize because I refuse to work within the system. And gosh, did I even bother to mention this? And I don't kind of look like the system either. It's one of the problems is whenever I come up here for my first court hearing in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or so, and stuff, I'll still be wearing this. But when I get that jury in that jury box, I know, because of your hatred of Jews and all you women that want an effeminate man, the sociological studies have proven for decades that men want a pussy-ass man who shaves his face and mimics the female and is a submissive, effeminate. She'll go off and have her babies with a guy like me, but she's going to have you there doing whatever the hell she wants you to do, mowing the lawn and bringing her money. She'll have sex with me, but she'll marry you. So just because you're still married or something like that, or have a bunch of children, that doesn't mean that you're some kind of macho man. Doesn't prove shit. I see that I have less than a minute remaining, so the point is that the last round of IQ tests proved that black people are intellectually, genetically inferior. Jewish IQs, or average IQ, is 115. Average black IQ, whether is anywhere from 35 to 25 points lower than Jewish IQ. And it's the same for, we're higher than other Caucasians and higher than Mongoloids. So you need to really get over your jealousy of people, Jews like me. Next time.